Good morning, Prof. How are you doing?
Good morning, baby. I'm doing very well indeed. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very well. It's a bright new Sunday morning. The sun is shining, so
Well, yeah, the brightness part of it, certainly we can see the day
exactly.
getting
I
longer.
mean, this
Something else.
this last week was just nice. It was like 1 minute I was in Canada in one very cold country, and the next minute I found myself here where it's been mild and all good.
That's good. Definitely.
Good. How was your week? Hope you had a good week.
Now from when we had snow. Yes, the week's good. Like you mentioned, it was great having certainly more clement weather than previously. It was a lot more pleasurable walking, taking a walk and all of that stuff. And enjoying the sun. And of course, as we go in towards we're progressing in the year, we're going higher, and we heard some higher news from the Prime Minister as well.
From the Prime Minister, I guess. Do you know what? He had to make that announcement last week, right? And the weather was right on his side. Because imagine it was bringing this very bright news onto us, and then the weather was very bright as well. Of course, that lifted people's spirits. Well, it lifted my spirit anyway. So let me speak for myself. I hope it did for our viewers as well. Prof, I have a question for you, because I know that we have discussed a lot about. We've had quite a few conversations on the COVID vaccine, right, and the vaccination process, everything, right? But now, as of December, it was like the numbers were going up, the infection rate was going up, the death rate was going up, everything was going up. And they said the best way to deal with this would be to put us all on national lockdown again. And then we went on national lockdown, and then people started getting vaccinated, right? And right now they've said to us the numbers have dropped, have started to come down. And some people have been, because I don't know whether it's most people, I don't know the numbers, but I know some people have now been vaccinated. And the plan is to get almost all adults in the UK vaccinated by July, I believe it is, or so. Now, the question I have got is, do you think the reduction in the number of infection rates, the death rate, is as a result of people getting vaccinated, or as a result of us being on lockdown and we're just not mixing with people anyways? Because I'll tell you why I asked that. Because it is very easy to say that numbers are going down and all of that, because first of all, we're not mixing with people, we're not going out anywhere, we're just going to start going out again from March. So all this while that we've stayed at home, so which means what we've stayed away from other people, so there hasn't been a lot of contacts everywhere. So would we say the reduction in the number of infection rates and the death rates is as a result of more people getting vaccinated, or because we are still on lockdown? And if it's because we are not on lockdown, does that mean that when we go out, eventually there is a risk of the numbers going up again? Sorry, I should be asking Prime Minister this question, but you are his representative on this show, so please.
Yes. I just had a chat with Boris a few minutes ago, so I'll make sure this gets back to you.
I hope it was a good one.
Well, I told him what to say last week, didn't I? So anyway, I like the way you phrase this question, because it's a slightly mischievous way of phrasing the question, because you said, is it this or that? Why can't it be both? Right? Why can't it be both? I think that, again, I was saying earlier that how real life is typically messy. When I say messy, I don't mean in a negative way necessarily. I just mean that, unlike when you're building a theoretical model and so forth, not everything is well defined and well explained. Often you have a combination of factors working together to a particular outcome. So I'll put it to you this way, right? We know that lockdowns work, right? Because we've used lockdowns before,
right.
Not just even with COVID, but even with Spanish flu, even with the plague. Pretty much every time you've had a pandemic, a public health emergency, a lockdown is the go-to immediate response to. So we know that works, and this is no exception.
Yeah.
We know it worked in March last year, again, just about a year ago, right?
That's right.
over a year ago. We know that worked because by the time we came out in summer, we had the numbers down to less than 1,000 a day or something like that. So it's pretty flat. So the answer to your question is, of course, the lockdown has played a role. Yeah. The issue with the lockdown, which is what we had last year, is okay. After that, then what?
Then what?
Lockdown forever. You know, and this is why some people proposed. I know it sounds controversial when they proposed that you go down the route of herd immunity, right?
Yeah.
Because they were saying, well, we don't see any way, because you do a lockdown, you come back out, and then you have the same problem. Pretty much what we saw when we came out in summer, out of it in summer, and then over autumn, and then in winter it went back up. So that's one. Okay. So what's the difference between this time and last time, and why is it that there is a lot more optimism? Well, you mentioned what it is, because of vaccines. Okay, and this is nothing. Again, this is nothing.
Well,
there's no huge, with a prophetic or unexpected thing here, because right from the beginning, even before it was declared a pandemic, anybody who understands the space knows that vaccination is the way to go. I mean, when we've talked, I've always said this, that vaccination is the most important tool. It's like the joker in the pack that any public health response system would have. When you have a vaccine, that's your way of dealing with it and managing it long term. So that's always going to be the objective. But what happens when you don't have a vaccine ready? Do you say, I'm going to wait, and then people, fall over and so forth, or you do what you can do? So lockdown is always a temporary measure anyway. So in that would work and have a temporary result. However, now we have that situation even being compounded in a positive way, or if you like, being boosted by the fact that we've got vaccines in the mix. Okay, and how do you know the vaccines are working? Is that your question?
Yeah, I mean, because people haven't really gone out now, because they have been vaccinated. I'm sure they're still staying safe. They're not mixing with a lot of people. Well, for us to be able to tell that the vaccines actually work, or they've worked as expected, I would say we'll have to wait until June if we eventually then move back out to our new normal, and where there are no restrictions and all of that. That's when we probably will be able to tell if the vaccines have worked or not. But I mean, you might have a different opinion on that. I mean, you're a scientist anyway, so you probably
do. As a matter of fact, I do have a different opinion, because one of the questions you might ask yourself is, how do people do clinical trials when it comes to vaccines? Or how were the clinical trials?
They do. Yeah, I'm sure they do. I mean,
but how did you do? Yes, but I've talked about some of the design concepts there, but more to the point of the question you're asking, right? When the trial is done, it's healthy volunteers. Okay, it's not like people are taken and then they're infected with COVID or anything. I don't know. It's healthy people giving the vaccine, right? And you take people from a range of professions, a range of just a cross section of the society to make sure you're representing as much as you can what would happen in reality, and then they go and live their lives. And then you follow them. What you would expect to see is that if there is a prevalent rate of infection, which you've seen from the people from just historically, right, for the past few months, the infection rate is XYZ. Then you get all these people, you split them into two. One group get the vaccine, the other group don't get the vaccine. And then you look what happens, just follow them. What you should expect to see is that if the vaccine is actually making a difference, among those who didn't take the vaccine, you should see a rate of infection that is quite similar to what you would see historically or what you've seen elsewhere, because nothing's changed in the vaccine. And it's not like you put them in jail and lock them away from anywhere. They're just living life like everybody else does. What you should expect to see then is among those who did take the vaccine, when you do a comparison, and that's how you say there's a 95% whatever effectiveness, because you might say, on this side, we've got 100 people who actually went and caught COVID 14 days after they didn't take the vaccine. And in this case, we've only got 5 people, whatever number, right? And then you compare it and say, here's the difference. Now, that's for catching the infection. What are the other things that I measured, right? Well, the other things that I measured, in fact, the more important ones as far as public health is concerned, are hospitalization and deaths. So if you do the same thing, right? Unfortunately, that's not where you want to go. But what you do is you follow the people as well and go to the hospitals. When you look at the hospitals, who are those who are being admitted for COVID? COVID-related conditions. How many of them actually received the vaccine and how many did not? Okay, and then further on when people died and so forth. And what you should expect is to see a difference. Now with the vaccines and clinical trials, you would see that actually in some cases with some of the vaccines, 0, right? Nobody took the vaccine actually went into hospital, and nobody who took the vaccine died with COVID-related causes, of course.
Right.
Now, when it comes to real life, that's what you should do, right? So you go to the hospital and look at the admission records. Say, okay, all the people that were admitted between X and Y time, how many of them actually
got vaccinated? Yeah.
And when you do that, suddenly you find that there's a significant difference. So that's where when you hear 70 to 95% or 70 to 80%, I beg your pardon, protection, it's because suddenly you see a big skew that is skewed heavily towards those who haven't taken a vaccine. And most of the people who come to the hospital,
Sorry, Prof. I just caught you in there. And this is, I just want to, please, now I'm wearing my risk manager's hat, right? We have taken the vaccine. And as you rightly said, by that time, you start looking at how many people were in the hospital, out of those people, how many were vaccinated and how many didn't get vaccinated. And then you can see whether your vaccines are working or not. What if, and this is a what if question, right? What if a new variant of the virus shows up and none of the vaccines that we currently have is any effective against that variant?
Yeah. So
what happens then? Is that possible? Can that happen?
Yeah, it's possible. Was it likely? That's where your risk management comes. Is it likely or the risk?
Well, yeah, exactly. So
it's not. Yeah. So I think. So what's happening? Okay. So the checking of the effectiveness of the vaccine in real life is not everything. You don't have to wait to do that because you have your hospitalization data. So if you look at Israel, they already have that information anyway because they've been following it pretty much the same way. In the UK here, we're getting the beginnings of data pointing to actually a stronger than expected performance and impact, positive impact of the vaccine. Yeah. Okay? So that's already and bear in mind that in the UK, this is after 1 dose, not even the full 2 doses,
True.
right? So that's already there. And remember I said as far as public health is concerned, it's the hospitalizations and deaths that are the main ones, not the infections. Because the one you're talking about, people waiting to go, whether they go out and they get infected or not, it is possible that some people might, after having had the vaccine, they go out and get infected. But what is very, very unlikely is that they would end up in
the hospital. Okay.
Yeah, so ultimately, as far as public health is concerned, that's not such a big deal, right? The person, at home might not, but you see what I mean? We have to look at this.
So I guess it's because it's not a big deal for you if you have flu, for instance, as long as you don't end up in the hospital. Exactly. You don't have to. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
It's not as big a deal, But you see what I mean? Just from the public health. Obviously, we're not saying we don't care about individuals, but from the public health perspective and from managing the NHS, if people don't end up in hospital and they don't end up, being critically sick and dying, then
they're still within our habitat. Yeah.
So that's the one thing. Then the other question you asked is about the risk of variants. Well, that's why the conversation is being had. And, like I always said about the flu, that's why every year people take a different flu vaccine because of the variants. Okay. In fact, the effectiveness of the flu vaccine is not even as good as the COVID ones. But anyway, that's a different. So
I'm sure nobody wants to go into that right now.
But it doesn't matter, right? You deal with the tool that you have, right? You can't have it and then complain that nothing is working.
That's right. Yeah.
So in this case, the question of variants will always be there. But the good news is that because of the advancements in technology and the tools that we have at our disposal now, we can actually these variants, right? In fact, it's even possible to proactively continue to tweak the design such that it's more and more capable of dealing with multiple variants. Okay, so back to the risk. Is it possible? Is it possible? Yes.
Likely?
That you would end up, say, by June, the variant that suddenly comes out and then completely makes all the vaccines ineffective. The possibility of that is right, because you have to think of what needs to happen.
Okay.
When a change happens, it's step by step, a little here, a little there. You have to have a complete sea change. In which case, maybe you're not talking of a variant. Maybe you're talking of a completely different thing.
Well, let's just pray that it wouldn't be anything different. There won't be any variant that one of the vaccines. No, I mean, because the thing is, well, no, I'm not scared. So viewers, this is the thing. When you're a risk manager, you think the worst case scenario. So things that people don't want to think about, those are the things that you think about, because we just never know. I mean, who knew that we were going to be here?
Do know, but that's the thing. That's why when you do the tree, okay, the linear, the family tree of the virus, you can do the study of it and see where it's come from, and you can monitor how it's evolved. You can monitor. So there are actually people who that's what they do. So when you look at how it's been monitoring over time, or how it's been evolving over time, you can actually predict and say, you know what, over time, this is how much change I'm expecting. Yeah. And that's how it tends to happen. It's a bit like saying within 2 generations of a family or 1 generation of a family, you have such a change in their characteristics. Somebody would say, I'm sorry, something else is happening. There's something happening that somebody's not telling you. You're not going to have such a big change, if you know what I mean.
That's right, yeah.
If you keep the integrity of that family.
Keep it in, yeah.
We can predict some of these things to some degree, okay? And we can predict that as far as the kind of changes that you would expect to happen within the normal evolutionary cycle or kind of variants that you would see in viruses, it's something that you can, to some extent, plan for. And within a period of a few months, you should be able to deal with it. Possibility, of course, is something else. You know, we can't say what's possible and what's not, because sometimes you don't know something is possible until it happens, which is why I prefer to talk about probability and likelihood. And in this case, it's not too probable to like it.
It's not. Okay, well, we will take your words on that. You are the scientist. You know this very well. So viewers, I'm sure you would agree with me that this whole thing, as right now, it doesn't even feel like it's new to us. But what is now new is the new world we're going into. Would it even be normal, you know, even though you've gotten the vaccine, you're wearing your mask, would you still be comfortable sitting on the tube with someone else sitting beside you? Or like if you go on Central Line like I do to get to work, would you still get into a very packed train? But all of that, we will find out when we get there, right? So thank you all so much.
Many people, do you want to go and start booking your holidays? Well, let's not go there.
Well, in fact, let's not go into that. And I think actually we should talk about the holidays booking. We can do that after, maybe on another conversation like this. Let's look at that, because I think as soon as the roadmap was shared on Tuesday, I think it was, on Monday, it was like EasyJet said they had about 67 or 64% booking, you know. People want to get out. I want to get out as well. So yeah. All right, viewers, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed this session. It's amazing how far we've come. You know, a whole year just gone just like that. We're on lockdown and we survived it. So we thank God. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, it will be our Spotlight Minutes. See you soon. Hey, Abigail. Good morning. Good to have you on the show. How are you, sis?
I'm good. Good morning. Morning, Prof.
Good morning, Abigail. You look a little bit tense. Is everything okay?
I know. What's going on?
You look a little bit tense. This is a Spotlight Minute.
Blame homeschool, right?
Yeah, I see it from the back. Interesting.
Wow. You're almost
you know what?
That.
Yes. Almost, right? Yes. You know what, right? Before we get to Spotlight Minute, I want to get to know you a little bit. So, Abigail, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then one thing about you that we may not know?
Okay. So I'm Abigail, as you know. I'm a nurse. I'm passionate about preventative health and basically just educating women on how to, optimize their health and live a healthier life. One thing you don't know about me, possibly.
Don't say homeschooling. We can see that already.
What's that?
I said, don't say homeschooling. We can see that already.
Well, okay. One thing you don't know about me is I'm actually a designer. So I make children's clothes.
Ooh, yes. Wow. Okay. You see, Prof, honestly, I think on this show, everything I need will be sorted. Every single thing. I've got a teacher. I've got a designer. My children are just blessed, Oh, wow. I'll be speaking to you after the show. So that's really good. So viewers, we have children's designer amongst us. So if you need to design some things, maybe you show us some of your stuff some other time when you come on the show, okay? So that's really good to know. Thank you. All right. I think I am ready for the Spotlight Minute. I don't know if you are. Prof, are you ready? And Abigail,
I'm ready.
actually, do you know what? I call her Nurse Abby. So I don't know why I'm being very official like Abigail. So Nurse Abby, I hope you're ready as well. You know the way this roll, there are 5 questions answered already under 30 seconds. How many can you get through under 30 seconds? So if you're not sure about a question, just say pass and Prof will read out another question to you. And bear in mind, time is of essence. So please just break the record today. It should just be very easy. Prof, are we good to go? Let's just break it. Ready to go? Nurse Abigail, are you ready?
Ready.
All right, so your time starts now.
What is the best gift you've ever received?
A necklace from my mother.
What is the last thing that really moved you?
A text message I got this morning.
What do your friends love most about you?
I'm caring.
What skill do you wish you could master?
Cooking.
If you could bring one musician back from the dead, who would it be?
Whitney Houston.
When was the last time?
Time out! Well done!
Whoa, I told you somebody was prepared. Well done.
Oh my goodness. To think you came in thinking, you're looking like there is pressure here.
But you was prepared, that's why.
Wow.
I hope I didn't blow your speakers without applause. I was really pleased that somebody did.
No, do you know what? You know what, Prof? I have to say it though. This just shows that Abigail has been watching this show every single Sunday. So she knows what to expect. Absolutely well done. Well done. So you are our winner. Of course, you're still going to be wearing the crown with
she is the lead now because she actually got past 5 questions and was on question number 6. So I think she's right.
Yes, you were. So well done, sis. Well done. Thank you so much. Viewers, please love on Nurse Abigail. She did fantastically well. She came prepared. That is good. So do you think you can beat Nurse Abigail? Let's find out next week, okay? Nurse Abigail, thank you so much for coming. God bless you. We'll see you in service, okay? And regards to the family. All right, take care. Bye. Oh, wow. That was so good. Well done, Nurse Abby. She did so well. But Fola, you have a friend now on this show. You have someone who's ready to take your crown. I mean, she was ready. She came ready. Unfortunately,
she came ready.
It wasn't meant to be, but so far so good. She has been the only person who actually got you on that 5. Now we're on the on for that person who's gonna come and take over 5. Just answer about 6-7 questions and let's see. That person has to get something. You never know. It might be a car, might be a house, might be a holiday somewhere. Prof will pay for it anyway. So don't worry about it. Prof, it is time for our service. For our viewers, I hope you've enjoyed this episode today. And as always, Prof is ready to take us into service like he does always. Prof, over to you.
Thanks, Bibi. Everybody, thanks for being with us so far. This, of course, is not just the last Sunday of the month, it's also the last day of the month. It's been a great month, digging deeper, looking at foundations, getting to know him more. So many things to pick from this month. Not just that, being the last Sunday of the month, Thanksgiving Day. Not just that, being the last Sunday of the month, which just means we just finished push. So really, we're in a place to just finish this month on a high. And I'm pretty sure that Pastor Temi is ready to go, raring to go. He's heard right from the throne room. And you know what? We can't wait either. So see you at the service as we end this month on a high and get ready for March. To march into spring. God bless you.
Right.
See you at the service.
Have a great week, Cora. See you soon. Bye.